Welcome to Fort Columbia. If only I could have served at a place so beautiful. It would have been so nice. I'm sure it wasn't always fun, but on days like today, who wouldn't want to have a view like that? This is such a beautiful spot. I'm kind of jealous. Okay, so first off, let me show you. I redid this, moved it over to the side so it'll clear the box and get a little better positioning on the mount here. So I'm going to have to stop and check on that along the way just to make sure everything's good. But then I wanted to just kind of show you here where we're going. So here's where we've gone so far. We've gone along up to here and we're at Raymond, and now we're going to take off. We're going to follow along Willapa Bay here and come down where it turns off for Long Beach. We're going to keep going south on the 401 and around to Fort Columbia. So let's get all this put away and situated and we'll get going. If you wonder why I have such a big box, that's why. So all filled. Pause these and go check out the pay box and figure all this stuff out, and then I'll bring you back. Welcome to Fort Columbia. Let's go check it out. I have my chest mount. I don't know if I will use it, but the clicking that you might be hearing is my cane, and also my keys bouncing off the chest mount. But they don't have any envelopes here. Normally at the state parks they have a pay station with envelopes, and I can mark the right box and put my pass number on there. So they don't have envelopes, so I put that little white thing in the windshield is a note with my pass number on it. So hopefully if anybody comes along, they'll see that. Oh, holy monkey parts. This is what the reason I have my chest mount, why I might need to use it, because I need to have my phone with me in case they have a problem with my pass and need to talk to me about it. I have my number on the note, and I really almost walked off and left my phone sitting here. But these are the locks I have for the helmet, and the cable goes through the sleeve, and so they aren't just laying there, hanging there. But this might get a little uncomfortable because I have to hold my phone and the camera in one hand. So I may need to put you on the chest mount so I can hold the camera, because this big, or the phone, I mean, this big phone doesn't fit in my pockets. So welcome to Fort Columbia. We are right there is Dee Dee. And so this is the battery ordnance bunker. And then gun 1 and 2, and then 3 is over the other side there. There's more down the hill. And then all the buildings here are labeled on here. I've got a picture of that now. Rearrange myself every time I do anything. I would like to get a pouch I could carry my phone in, but they aren't very common for big phones. Oh, Loop Drive. Then the sign says authorized vehicles only over there, so I don't know. I guess you can drive on this loop. And here in just a moment, we'll be able to see out over the Columbia. There's the view in the distance you can see the bar. Those white lines on the horizon, that's where it meets the Pacific. You probably can't hear it on the audio, but I can actually hear the waves from up here. Let me see if I can get a picture of that, because I know last time on the video it didn't really show very well. Okay, so, and hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm not all wind drowned or quiet. I'm not sure how well the camera's audio is going to be picking me up. And I don't know which will actually be better. It might even just end up being the camera. This is where they would have the guns up here. You can see the round impressions or depressions in the concrete there would have been where they were situated. And then there's another one, like I said before, over on the other side of the hill there. This is the enlisted men's barracks. Aside from being mostly wood, it doesn't look all that different from the ones I was in at AIT at Leonard Wood in Missouri. It's now the Interpretive Center. Being the 360, hopefully I can still get some decent video from the chest here. But yeah, I would like to have a pouch I could wear around my neck or something. I could put the phone in when I'm not on the bike. That is a beautiful view. This is the end of the Columbia. And then this bay over here, there's a Coast Guard station on the other side of that. That's Cape Disappointment over there. There's another park there. It's under construction right now. They're doing some updates and stuff. So that'll be a later trip. And I don't know how much of that is coming through on the video. I know it doesn't see distance in any real detail. But anyway, again, there's the barracks. This is the administrative office. And it's kind of crazy how small some of these old forts and stuff were. I was on several. I never was stationed at Fort Lewis, but obviously being that I live here in Washington, I've been on Fort Lewis numerous times. It's a very large base compared to this. Fort Carson is a large installation compared to something like this also. Fort Sill, I didn't see a whole lot of. That's where I went to basic training, and in basic you don't really have a lot of freedom to go exploring. So I didn't see a whole lot of that, but I did see part of it, and it's a pretty big installation from what I saw of it, compared, of course, to this. Commissioned officers' quarters. It's now the park ranger residence. I'm not sure how many, or if any, actually are currently in residence. This was the commanding officer's quarters, and there's another row up there, so we'll get some views of this from the other side also. See what we have here. More so than riding, these kind of activities are going to be impacted by my physical limitations as far as how long I can walk. This is actually the guns that they would have had at these 3 placements. I don't know if you can read that on there. It says, you are standing on the 3rd gun emplacement of battery ordnance. Because of the drainage problems, it was condemned and the Army filled it with earth. So where this gun actually was, it would be like what's over in the other building over there. But it's under this now. We're actually standing on it. And I haven't looked at the history while I'm here today. So a lot of what I know is based on what I can remember from 30 years ago when we were here. But this fort was responsible primarily for the Columbia. And then this is the river, and of course they would be protecting against or protecting commerce and invasion, or from invasion. Out there, this spit that comes around on the other side of that, you see the land, that is Cape Disappointment. And I'm not sure exactly where on that peninsula there is the Coast Guard station. As I said on the other video for Westport, this is the most dangerous bar in the world. There are numerous disasters and near disasters every year, vessels overturned by the bar, or small vessels that are swamped or pulled out to sea, and these guys are right here. So they can respond quickly. But there's, like I said, the state park over there. It's on the other side, Cape Disappointment State Park. I was planning to do a 2-for-1, but like I said, it's under construction. It is open, but a lot of the stuff that would be worth looking at is closed for construction until the end of April. So I'll just do another trip out when it's open. This is all still part of the fort down there. Let's see some information here. Fort Columbia Historical State Park looks very similar to how it did when the fort was originally built. Every structure and soldier had a unique purpose, all intended to defend the mouth of the Columbia River from the 1890s to the end of World War II. As you tour the grounds, imagine what it was like to live and work in such a secluded location. So again, this is gun 3. It's this right here. So we're actually right here. So we're going to go up here, and then we'll just go up and walk this and check these out. I'm not going to be able to get up to those. So that would be observation station and a dormitory, which will be similar to what these buildings are. So we're going to come up this way and then back between here, and then we can follow this walk down and see what we can do down. I'm not going to be able to get all the way down to these on foot. So this is the tunnel we rode through on the way in. So this is clear back down by the road. Then when we leave, we'll go on 101. We'll just go this way and around, like we're going to Long Beach and back. So this is the trail map here. This goes up to where those buildings are, and this would be neat to walk, I'm sure. I'm not up to it, but if you were to come visit, then you could look forward to This is a mile, 0.7 miles, and a half a mile up here, so you've got quite a distance that you could hike in here. So let's go see what's up here. And if that cane is clicking and it's getting on your nerves, I apologize. I don't have anywhere to carry a full length cane on the motorcycle, and these fold up ones make noise. Okay, so the powerhouse shows down that way. I'm not sure if I saw that on the map or not, but and it is nice out. I'm down to my t-shirt. I left my jacket on the bike, and it's not really warm, but it's not cold. Apparently it thought I said to turn off or stop or something, so I'm gonna have to go in and turn off the voice controls, which I didn't have on to begin with, but so that gives me a clue as to why it randomly turns off. So I'll have to figure out some way to disable those, because turning them off doesn't seem to disable them. This is the hospital's Scarborough House vacation rental. So apparently you can rent and stay here on vacation. I have no idea how much that costs or anything, but if you go on the Washington State Parks website, Fort Columbia State Park, I'm sure they have that information available. Yeah, I don't see a powerhouse down there, but okay. Hills are not as bad as stairs, but I have a hard time walking up hills, and I have a difficult time with stairs, primarily due to my hip. So we got a couple up there. I'm not going to go up that little trail here, but let me. So up here is the one's the doctor's house. Was I believe one of the ones up there. I think it's the one in the back. So here you can see in the picture, if you look at the roof, it's not this one in the front. I think it's the next one back there. Before cars and railroads, the isolation of Chinook Point made the presence of a doctor essential. He maintained health and sanitary standards at the fort. He practiced a bit of diplomacy also by delivering local babies, and thus encouraged neighborly goodwill. And that's something that continues when I was in Afghanistan. A number of times when I was at the medical station for whatever reasons, we had locals in there. Sometimes they were injured, and sometimes they were just there for checkups. It's not really something that gets a lot of attention in the media, but reaching out to the local communities is a big part of what the military does when they have installations in foreign countries. A lot of children and even adults. I mean, it's not all just the kids, but the local community is helped directly and indirectly by the military being in their area. And we had things, work accidents from the local area, car accidents, and a few times people were brought in because they encountered leftover landmines that hadn't been cleared away after the Russians left Afghanistan. There were huge efforts underway when I was there to clear as much area as possible, because there's still a lot of areas in Afghanistan that are just inundated with landmines that have been there since the 80s, and they can still go off. A lot of people are injured and killed every year by leftover ordnance. So not a lot of info on these buildings. I think it's probably on the other side, which you can see there's stairs going down that hill. We're going to go up the middle here now and see what's there before we swing around. Yep, okay, there's some signs for these ones, it looks like. Okay. I'm sorry if I keep sticking the camera in front of there. So it does look like there's some upkeep. You know, these are old buildings, and I'm not sure what's in the works as far as maintaining them and that goes. But these are actively used. Obviously, I would say that the disabled access ramp is probably not original. Cellar access. This would have had doors over it. So up here, that is the quartermaster's storehouse. Now it's the state park shop. I don't know. It says now it is, but I'm not sure if they're still actively open part of the year. Okay, so once again it stopped, but I went in and apparently, I don't know if it was the update or what, it had turned itself back on for voice commands, which I've never had them on, so, but with touchscreen controls, and this one is not very good to begin with as far as control sensitivity. Either it got turned on trying to do the update, or it turned itself back on. But so it should be off now. So like I said, that may have been what was causing it to randomly shut off before, or it may have been the out-of-date firmware that needed to be replaced. I don't know. So then it shut off and distracted me right as we were getting to this one. So this is the non-commissioned officers' quarters up here. Says now it is a park ranger residence, like the other ones here. So I mean, it does look like it's occupied. I don't know. The park rangers are not assigned to a park like they used to be. They range, and with several parks in the area, I don't know if they're assigned to this park or this region or how that works. So I don't know if I can see through these trees over here. That's a really pretty view. The waters on the Columbia just glittering away in there. And I really hope that this chest harness doesn't make this video useless, because this is kind of a neat place and it would be a shame. But I won't really know until I get to editing. this way, you can see the mountains over in the background. This is the Columbia. It goes south and follows along between Washington and Oregon. Not really certain on which one that mountain is. There's several of them right in here, and frankly the memory's not what it used to be, so I don't want to put a name on that one because I'll probably get it wrong. Oh. Looking, and I don't see some places in our state parks, they have signs that say stay off the grass. If you're visiting, try to follow the signs. I don't see anything here saying to stay off the grass, so I'm walking on it. But I have been in a few of our parks that have signs that say it. So if you're in one of those, stay off the grass, because if you don't, that's the kind of stuff that closes parks. So I just wanted to get a kind of an overview. You can see how overgrown this down here is. So clearly we aren't going to be able to get up to it, and I can see the sign is way over here. So while we're up here, I just wanted to get kind of a looking down into it view, and then we'll see exactly what these are. I have a feeling they're more gun emplacements, but we'll see them from down there, but now we can also see them from above. Okay. Plus it is much more comfortable for my hips to walk on soft ground. Whoa, whoa. That guy caught me by surprise. Blended right in. It was a little garter snake. Nothing to be scared of, but I wasn't expecting the ground to move. So yeah, on that note, a reminder, when you're out in the state parks and in the trees and stuff, there's animals out here sometimes. So be respectful. Don't pick them up and try and play with them or take them home or do any of that garbage. Just, this is their home and you're visiting. Let's just kind of take a look and see if it has any info on the building itself. Don't see anything here, but it does look like an original building, so it is possible that this was a shower house or a latrine. We can look on the map and see if it says. I'm just putting off this hill because it's steep and it's going to hurt. But I am going to come over here and walk on the grass because it hurts less than the pavement. Looks like some sort of ventilation stack. Wonder if they had some sort of ammunition magazine in this hill. Huh. We'll see. There's something up here. Some kind of bunker. Oh, here we are. Okay, so this is battery. We got installations, and then you would have all these different storerooms, air compressor and motor for operating the guns, shell rooms, powder rooms, plotting where they would be aiming, determining the angles and such, power room, water cooler room, exhaust gallery. So that was probably what I was seeing over there. The latrine, CWS room, I'm not sure what that is. Switchboard, corridor, and then the airlock. Beginning in the early 1960s, the state prepared Battery 246 to serve as a temporary location for state government. As one of 4 emergency operating centers in the state, the battery could shelter the governor and key officials in case of nuclear attack or other major disaster. So this is basically a NORAD for our state. I don't know if we still have such places in our state, but it took 50 years to finish. Construction began in 1945 during World War II. The gun tubes were never installed. By that time, mounted guns had become obsolete due to advances in military technology and the advent of airplanes. Battery 246 was intended to form a triangle of fire with similar batteries at Fort Canby and El Waco and Fort Stevens near Astoria. After the end of World War II, the War Department declared the 3 forts surplus and removed all large weapons. Fort Columbia was transferred to Washington State Parks in 1950 as a historic park. Constructed in 1945, armed 1993, Battery 246 finally received its guns in 1993, 48 years after initial construction occurred. The state parks obtained these 2 guns from the U.S. Naval Facility in Argentina, Newfoundland, Canada. They are identical to the guns that were planned for Battery 246. There are 2 of only 6 remaining guns of this kind in the world. That would be these guys right here. And then you can see up there would have had a different configuration, but it's basically the same setup. This is all motorized and it turns and aims. Honestly, it doesn't look all that different from some of the stuff that they're still using in the field, but those wouldn't be mounted like this is permanently in place. Those are usually on trailers or mobile chassis. I'm going to go this way, check this out, and then cut across over to those stairs. Actually, I see another sign over there, so we'll go check that out, and then we'll go from there and decide where we're going next. There's the other of the 2 guns. So El Waco is over by Cape Disappointment. So what they would have had would have been that peninsula. You can't quite see through the trees now, but over where I was pointing, it would have been there, here, and on the other side of the river near Astoria is the 3rd installation. So you wouldn't be able to violate the Columbia River without passing through Battery Murphy's two 6-inch disappearing guns were the most used guns of Fort Columbia. Built in 1900, they remained in operation through the end of World War II. Although the guns were never fired during actual combat, they were shot thousands of times for practice. This photo from June 1942 shows how the accuracy of the target practice was visually recorded. The number on the sign represents the shot number, and vertical lines in the background indicate where the shells landed in relation to their intended target, identified with an X. So these are the pit guns that would have been in the batteries up there, and these ones. So I don't know how well this comes through, but this piece goes up over the wall when it's firing, and then it retracts down to the lower level to be out of view while it's loading. Stupid bug. So that would be for the protection, obviously, of the people that are loading it, as well as the equipment, which is vulnerable the entire time that it's visible. So clearly you want that to be minimized. These ones here are not the same design, obviously. They don't retract. But these would be significantly larger than what would have been here, I believe. These look like something different over here. They've got posts instead of the pits. Let's see what these are. Rapid fire, rapid change. Even in the 1900s, technology changed quickly. Battery Crenshaw, the concrete structure in front of you, was constructed in 1900 as part of an intricate system of defense guarding the Columbia River entrance. 3 rapid-fire 3-inch guns were mounted atop the battery to protect a minefield that lay in the river between Fort Columbia and Fort Stevens across the water. As warships grew more nimble and airplanes became widespread, the guns were determined to be obsolete and were removed in 1918. So these would have been small, light, and fast to fire. So you'd have a stepped-up approach. You'd have small and light for right out here. The 6-inch guns would be bigger, would go farther and do more damage to bigger ships. And then you'd have these are probably even more powerful further out, more damage for bigger stuff. But these would be the slowest. These would reload quicker, but aren't quite as powerful. And then, as the sign said, those would be quick, but smaller. And in some ways, the military still uses that same approach. A lot of our gun trucks would have a big primary weapon and 1 or 2 smaller secondary weapons. Our ASVs had a 50 cal machine gun and a Mark 19 grenade launcher. Then the gun trucks would have 50 cals, and some of them had other machine guns on there for backup or closer combat. So basically the principles behind warfare really haven't changed, despite the fact that the technology has made significant changes in how we implement those same basic strategies. And for the sake of protecting, like this here now, instead of having a fort here with guns emplaced, most of our defensive capabilities here would be dependent on naval ships and air defenses from criminy sakes, I just drew a total blank. McCord. So, partying in the closet. Just like houses need closets for storage, military forts needed places to hold supplies. The building below was constructed around 1906 to store ordnance, weapons, ammunition, and related supplies. The strategic location of this warehouse at the river's edge allowed goods to be delivered easily from the boat to the dock to the storage. Remnants of the dock are visible to your left at low tide. I don't know how well you can see through these bushes here, but there's the pilings down there in the water would have been the dock, and then they come up and into the storage, and then up this way and to the guns. During World War II, the building took on a new and perhaps equally important function when it was converted into a dance hall and theater to entertain the troops. For dances, transportation was made available to women from surrounding communities. Many new romances began this way, and as a result, many soldiers married and settled in the area. So here's a picture from 1906 showing this building here, some of these buildings that aren't here anymore, and then this is the fort at that time, and it really doesn't look all that different from down here. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go this way and up. And if it lived up to its potential, it might be worth the extra hassle, but it really doesn't. So I don't know if I get to the point where I want to add another camera or replace this camera. It will probably be a GoPro or something else. Battery of Jules Ord is a lesson in form and function. In the late 19th century, the U.S. military began to build with concrete instead of the earthworks and brick of earlier defenses. The use of concrete allowed for a two-story structure. The upper story supported the disappearing guns, while the ground floor was used to store powder and ammunition. Crews from the Army Corps of Engineers used horses and a small train to haul dirt and cement to the battery site. Construction of Battery Ord started in December of 1896 and required almost 20 months to complete. So here's their little train track. This is obviously the structure. So this is what they have here. They built this and then filled for defense. It was built so that the ships could not see it from the water. Characteristic is called a horizontal crest, and the fill was designed to resist enemy bombardment. So believe it or not, the ground is really good armor. A lot of our camps and bases built in combat zones, they're built out of wire baskets that are filled with dirt and rocks because they absorb bullets. They're really resilient to gunfire, and as you step up in power, that holds true. So artillery rounds may knock a big hole in the dirt, but it'll absorb a lot more of that force than if it were to hit concrete or brick, or obviously if you were to hit one of these wood buildings with an artillery round, it would just go right through it and tear it to pieces. Whereas that big pile of dirt there is going to absorb most of the impact. I can never remember what the heck those things are called, but it's basically like a big wire egg crate with a felt liner to hold the dirt in, and then you fill them up with dirt and gravel. And that was how a lot of the structure was actually built around the walls and towers. On the FOBs and the COPs. FOB being a forward operating base, COP being a combat outpost. So we're back to DD now. I'm just mount my phone here so I can get it out of my hands. Pop this little note out of the windshield before I forget and take off with my pass and phone number info on it and have it fly out. Okay, so well, that was Fort Columbia. Like I said, there's more to it if you're here and you want to do some hiking. There's the trails over there. There's the picnic area if you wanted to bring a lunch and make a day out of it. And there's more in the area. Cape Disappointment is close by. It's close enough that you could do both parks in one day if you wanted to. And don't quote me because I don't use them, but I believe if you buy a one-day pass, it is good at all state parks. So if you came here and bought a one-day pass, you could use it at Cape Disappointment. Verify that before you count on it, though, because, like I said, I don't know that for certain, but that's my understanding of it. Whoa! What the heck just happened there? Oy. Oh, this strap just slipped off the back piece of this chest harness, and I thought you guys were going for a ride. Well, you did, but I mean, I thought you were going for a flying lesson. The camera screws down onto the top of this selfie stick, and then you have a nut or a thumb screw on the mount that you screw into the bottom of it. So you have to angle the camera so that it's where you want it. Got these little slotted things here so you can take it apart. And that's what happened. It came off of there when I bent down. Apparently it wasn't on it very well. So this is that kit I have. It's got a lot of crap in it. It has another selfie stick that extends. It's got that little tripod thing I was fighting with before. All my cables and my adapter so I can use my cables to charge on the bike if I needed to. And all these kind of mounts and stuff. So I think this is the one that I need for the chest piece instead of, I just stuck it in here and now it's gone. Oh, I didn't stick it in here yet. Instead of this one. So, because this one I can't see how it's canted. I can't get it flat. But with this one I could bring it out farther. It actually goes that way. And then I could bring that up square, I think. I'll have to play with this stuff, and it's a learning process. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn you off, get everything squared away, and get ready to go, and then I'll bring you back when it's time to hit the road. I'll be back on the helmet camera instead of the audio, but it has been recording the whole time, so we should have some audio anyway, if nothing else. Oh, I forgot to put that in there. So yeah, I'll see you when I get back to it. So anyway, I'm gonna just do just up the hill and around the road here before we get out of the park and head out. Okay, so that was Fort Columbia, and that's pretty much it. Hopefully not too much bug goo on there. So that's it, we're back home. I'm gonna go ahead and get Dee Dee put away. Like I said, there's not a lot of grime on it today. There's no road grime, mostly dead bugs. So I'll just get her put away and get in and relax, because I'm really sore now from the park. So hopefully it won't take me more than a few days to get all this footage together, and I'll get her uploaded. Hopefully that's not too gooby on there. So yeah, I haven't picked a place for next time yet. I'm open to suggestions. So if you have any comments, things you like, things you don't, go ahead and leave them down below in the comments. And if you could like and subscribe, that would be great too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.